Guys, the film is hilarious. Talk about assembling this dream team of actors to play all these funny characters.
Well, it was a real process. We knew we had Jason Bateman from the get-go because he was attached to produce it, and we rewrote the script kind of in his voice. We knew we wanted Rachel, but beyond that, you know, it was kind of a toss-up. Yeah.
You know, we also we wanted to cast it with some non-traditional people who you don't see in comedies a lot, and so Kyle Chandler and Jesse Plemons are not the first names that come to mind when you
not with comedy. Even Billy, yeah.
I mean, we got so lucky, and Billy. They're also real, they're so sort of committed to the parts that it makes it that much more fun and surprising.
Yeah, I mean, I find that just casting actors that are really good is more important than ones that are really funny, especially if it's a sort of a plot-driven movie like this where they have to be reacting to a lot of terrible things as well as good things. And I think that there can be comedic actors who are great in that little cookie cutter mold, but outside of that, like to play anything dramatically, you see that it doesn't quite work with them. And this kind of had a dream team of cast.
The movie's obviously a comedy, but it has a fair share amount of action as well. Talk about balancing the two and making sure there's both comedy and a little bit of action.
Well, we approached it as much like a thriller as a comedy, and so we told our cinematographer, like, we want this to look like a thriller, which meant more composed shots, more dolly tracks, and not steady cam. We have the color palette is desaturated, like kind of like a thriller. The score, our composer was a guy who has previously done mostly Soderbergh movies and Drive, and so he's not a comedy
so different
guy. Yeah. And so we always wanted the audience to be on that kind of uncertainty of, what is this movie exactly, but in a good way.
Yeah, we also, it gave us the opportunity to explore different camera techniques, I think, that haven't been done a lot. We use this R1 arm that's basically a rig that is attached to the camera like 15, 20 feet back, or the car 20 feet back behind it, so that it looks kind of like a third-person driving game like Grand Theft Auto, where the camera's always fixed with it, and then we digitally remove the rig after the fact. And I haven't really seen that use of a rig before in films, and because we were able to kind of cross genres and not make it just a comedy, it gave us the opportunity to do that.
Now they're gonna copy you, and once you do it once,
and they'll call it the Daley Goldstein technique.
There you go. Also, being writers, does that help make you better directors, and how was it collaborating with Mark on?
Definitely.
How directors who don't write do it, like, I don't quite understand, because it's like, don't you want to change things? As if it's not working, what do you do? I guess you have the writer on set, but for us, it's part and parcel. It's all part of the process. Like, if it's not working, we want to fix it.
Absolutely. And in terms of Mark, I mean, when we became involved with the film, it had been around for a while, and we read it, and we loved the premise, and we loved the idea of not knowing for sure what's real and what's fake, and so we kind of rolled with that.
And lastly, what is an ideal game night for you guys in your households?
Well, for me, it would involve a lot of liquor.
Oh, yeah. It seems to be the running theme.
Generally, most things in your household.
Yeah, I mean, that's true too. A bath or a shower has a lot of liquor.
It's almost redundant at this point.
I have bourbon baths. I just fill a bath with bourbon.
That's a game for some reason.
And good for the skin.
It's very soothing.
Any game where someone isn't really upset or cries at the end of it is a good game for me.
That's a good game?
That's a good game because there are a lot of really competitive people that we play with that can be hurtful when they're in the heat of competition.
Oh. Very good. Well, congratulations, guys.
And on that dark note.
Hi, Mark.
Hi there.
Talk about game night. How did you write the script, and what was the mindset that you were in when you were writing it?
The mindset I was in. It's funny. A friend of mine who's also a producer on the movie called me, and he goes, game night. That's the title, game night. And he's always real good with titles. I'm like, shit, that's a good title. I got to think about this. And I thought about it. And I'm like, what would be the best way to do this? And he's like, maybe it's over a period of time. And I go, no, man, let's do it over a night. Let it be crazy. And then have all the people think that it's a real murder mystery. And, crazy stuff happening, that, not knowing. And jumping in that way, it opened up a bunch of avenues for me as far as creatively. Because all my favorite movies I love Three Amigos, where they think it's a movie, but they're actually being chased, or
Right.
you know, Tropic Thunder, where they think it's a movie, and you know, Tropic Thunder's dope, dude.
So dope.
So they think it's that whole kind of movie is a turn on to me. So that's kind of the genesis of what got me turned on to writing Game Night.
Now, the movie is a comedy, but it
Yeah.
has a good amount of action
Yeah.
to it. So how do you, as a writer, balance the two?
You go into it going, okay, people are, I think, and again, what do I know, but I think people are getting tired of just the same kind of comedy. You see the trailer, you go, I know it's going to happen. This guy's going to do this, but then there's going to be heart and there's going to be this stuff. And I go, what if we add some real stakes to it? What if when people get shot, it's real? When people get hurt, it's real. When people are scared, it's real. And to the credit of the producers, they kept grounding me when I was writing it to make sure that all that was there. So I wanted it to be more than just a broad comedy and have it be this kind of thriller, you know, nuance. It's funny, I was talking just a second ago, it's like I saw Get Out,
Yeah.
and I'm watching Get Out, and I go, I turned to my wife and I go, I'm so jealous of this movie. You know what I mean? Because it was like, it was a comedy and it was a thriller and it was all this different kinds of stuff. And I think that's what I tried to lean into when I wrote Game Night, the screenplay.
With being a writer, and you have your directors, how do you interact with them? How much do you talk with them in preparing the script?
Well, it's funny, I didn't talk to them much. I finished the script, New Line decided they wanted to make it. They hired these writers, directors, which, by the way, you know, I was psyched. It's like, not only do you get directors that are awesome, but they can also write too. So you give your project to somebody who's funny and smart, and, you know, there's no ego in it. You know, I think making a movie is such a collaborative process to have these directors and writers. So I didn't have it much to do with them after I gave them the script. But when I went to the screening, I was like, man, they hit it. It's dope. So I was psyched.
This is what I envisioned.
Yeah, or more.
And
I thought
more.
it was better, yeah.
If you were to have your own game night, what would it consist of?
A lot of drinking.
Lots of drink. Okay,
Yeah, man, that's
good.
always the thing. I go to game nights and they go, here's what's going to happen. I'm like, oh, man, pour me an extra booze, because it's, you know, it always makes me stressed out. It's funny, I did Vince Vaughn. I was writing a movie for him once, and he invited me to do, they do this kind of flash charades where you do charades and you run into another room. And I'm like, oh, it'd be fun. Vince Vaughn, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
And he took it crazy serious. And he was like, come on, we got to get it right. And it spooked me. I was like, okay, that's the last time I'm going to go do it. But people take game night super duper seriously. It's really competitive. So I think I'm the opposite. I like to sit in the corner and drink and have fun. But that would be my perfect game night, is everybody competing and me in the back kind of laughing.
Laughing and
You know what I mean?
drinking.
Right, exactly.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mark.
Oh, you're the best, man. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.